Good evening and welcome to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, the LGBTQ plus friendly, pro-science, anti-fascist, all ages and uncensored reading established by me in 2004 and still going strong even in the midst of global pandemic. I'm here this evening with my co-host Morgan Paige and people from around the nation to celebrate National Poetry Month. And we'll be doing that with our very special guest, Eileen Elliott, who is the author of a fantastic new book called Pobrecitos. So we'll be hearing from Eileen after about a handful of our open mic readers. And after our featured reading, we will hear from more open mic readers. And what do you need to know? We would like for people to stay muted during the reading of poems, but the rest of the time, please feel free to unmute yourself and hoot, holler, applaud, or do whatever it is that you're comfortable doing to show your appreciation for these poets. It's truly fucking weird to read a poem and then have the silence of the abyss afterward. We don't like that so much. We like hooting and hollering and noise. So we don't need everybody to do that. You should do what you'd like. We believe in personal freedom. It goes down Poetry Open Mic, but we would love to hear how you feel about these poets. And you're going to hear some really great poems tonight. Morgan, do you want to say anything to say hello to the peoples?
Yeah, happy Poetry Month, everybody. I think there were some questions last month where some new readers wanted to know how long they had on the mic. So we usually just share one poem, right? 3 minutes.
Yeah, and the 3-minute thing is a guideline, but the one poem thing we're kind of sticking to, and it really just has to do with attention spans and the fact that we're not in person and people are not going to feel like they can get up and do anything else till it's over. So yeah, if people can respect those guidelines, as soon as we're able to meet in person again, it's going to be a free for all. Again, as it has been for most of its history. But for now, we're trying to keep things orderly and make it as enjoyable as possible for everybody. So that's the reason for that one poem guideline. That's the only reason for it. It's not because we wouldn't love to hear more, you know. Do you think that answers it, Morgan, or?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to add. I'm super excited for Eileen's feature and really excited to hear from everybody tonight. So thanks for showing up.
Okay. The only other thing I haven't mentioned yet that I might want to mention to people, especially if you just came in, is if you have a book, a blog, a website, even something in the community that is not poetry related that you'd like people to know about, go ahead and put that in the chat. Once the reading gets going, there's going to be a lot of stuff in the chat. So don't be shy about putting whatever information you're going to put up there more than once, and sending out a follow-up email. So if you miss any of the information that people put into the chat, you will be able to catch up with that later. Also, remember to keep things on speaker view if you would like to only see, the poet who's speaking and not all of the tiny boxes. But you can toggle between those two as much as you'd like. So one of the things that I do with our featured readers is I ask them if there's something special that they would like to hear. And I asked Eileen if there was something that she would like to hear. And she chose something that's actually one of my favorite poems. And I think it probably will be a favorite of some of you here. Our current United States Poet Laureate, Joy Harjo. And I know we have Joy Harjo fans in the Ghost Town community. It's also, we should say, our first Indigenous Poet Laureate and the second, I believe, to have been given a third term. That is not something that happens very often. So perhaps the world ends here by United States Poet Laureate Joy Harjo. The world begins at a kitchen table. No matter what, we must eat to live. The gifts of earth are brought and prepared, set on the table. So it has been since creation, and it will go on. We chase chickens or dogs away from it. Babies teethe at the corners. They scrape their knees under it. It is here that children are given instructions on what it means to be human. We make men at it. We make women. At this table, we gossip, recall enemies and the ghosts of lovers. Our dreams drink coffee with us as they put their arms around our children. They laugh with us at our poor falling down selves and as we put ourselves back together once again at the table. This table has been a house in the rain, an umbrella in the sun. Wars have begun and ended at this table. It is a place to hide in the shadow of terror, a place to celebrate the terrible victory. We have given birth on this table and have prepared our parents for burial here. At this table, we sing with joy, with sorrow. We pray of suffering and remorse. We give thanks. Perhaps the world will end at the kitchen table while we are laughing and crying, eating of the last sweet bite.
All right.
Hard jump. Yeah. Thank you very much. And thank you, Eileen, for asking for that. It's a beautiful piece. It's beautiful to read as well. Welcome to Jim Fisher, who's just joined us. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our first reader, and I really hope this is going to happen. Jim Martin, who, as I said earlier, has been with us since November 2004. Are you here, Jim?
I have a face. I think I still have a voice.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. That's great.
Hi. Okay. I've been writing a bit, among the things I write, on senescence, which I'm experiencing, and especially with the lockdown, it's accelerated. So this poem is about that. It doesn't have a title yet. I have left that thought, yet remember a part, a word, or was that words? Stages, yes, stages. I can see the gully where we played the days away, the screams, the arms out, flailing to force Janice's body upright, racing down slope to the path, the bottom of the gully. And then we just the gully, the screams, the young body hurtling toward the woody path, the bottom, just that and no more. And that's it.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been waiting a month to hear that poem.
Right.
Technical difficulties are a pain in the ass, but really glad that you hung in there and now we got a chance to hear you. Thank you. Well, the other thing I want you to know about Jim is he's one of the only people that I felt comfortable allowing to co-host the just 2 or 3 times I need to be out of town. And thank you for that, Jim. And thanks for just being such an important part of this Ghost Town community. You mean the world to me, you know? All right, well, let's hear next from Julie Robinette. Is Julie here?
Yes, I'm here. Hello. I'm going to read a poem that I actually wrote several years ago. Can you hear me okay? I hope, okay, good. Okay. This is called New. Spring fever pulled me outside today, and I planted 18 strawberry plants, a gift from a friend's garden. I planted them imperfectly. I haphazardly chose a spot. I decided to be happy with the soil as is. I did not add compost or fertilizer, only love. I only dug this deep, it wasn't much. I did remove most of the weeds. I tucked the plants into the earth and settled the soil around their roots. This was not perfect, but it is better than the blueberry plants, which years later still remain in containers because I couldn't decide where to plant them. I stopped in the middle of writing this poem because I realized I'd forgotten to water the strawberry plants. After planting them, and while I was out there tending to that, I saw a bumblebee near the rosemary for the third time today. I counted 30 pea sprouts. Yesterday, there were only 8. I put away some of the gardening tools. My friend told me that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago or today. I think I'm going to dive in from now on. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Julie. Glad you could be here with us. Julie, will you tell the people where you're zooming in from? I just really love how we have people coming in from all over the place.
Yes, I'm from Everett, Washington, so a little bit north of Seattle.
So glad that you could be here. Do you want to talk about the reading where we met? There's a really great reading up there in Everett that people might want to know about.
Yes, there's Everett Poetry Night, and it's at Cafe Zippy in Everett, and they're going to start up again actually this month. We're meeting outside the place. They used to meet inside, and they did some things in the park last summer, and so they're starting up again and meeting earlier than they used to. The time might change a little bit, so I haven't gone back yet. Actually, the first one is tonight, but I'm probably going to try going back to that again soon.
Okay. Well, if you'd like to share, a link to that or any information about it, go ahead and put that in the chat if you'd like people to know, how to find you.
Okay,
that would be great.
I've never done a chat thing, but I'll see if I can figure it out.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks for reading for us, Julie.
Yes, you're welcome.
Next, we're going to read we're going to hear from someone else I believe is reading here for the first time. William Erickson. Are you there, William?
I am here. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate the opportunity. This is awesome. I'm going to read a poem from a chapbook I've got coming out beginning of next year. Will be in pre-order, I think, in October. And it's called The Order of Operations. The order of operations for a field mouse begins at the oculus of a den he might have dug or might have found. An iris, a type of rotation it would seem in approaching, which an hour ago was pitch, but now gains a sort of translucence, a warmth of attraction that sets the clock to its work, if life were a periscope. Once breaching, the mouse is grasped for a moment in the slight tension, bending to it now. The blue is that of repetition, swelling outward and then falling, as the chest might do in breathing, or the life of trees when seen in time lapse. And the mouse is grain against it, lost but unaware of it. His chief concern at present becomes motion, not as means of travel, but as means of understanding how the travel asks a question of him that is difficult. He is a finger in the dirt, scratching confusedly in a familiar script we ought to know by now, something of escape. Don't the sentences feel nice? Odd how the grass seems still at its tips, despite the mouse's pother near the roots. Supposing his fundamental aim is left to be decided by his belly, the mouse will breathe as one might to drink the mountains or the river, feeling at the layers for a particular thing to be identified by hunger and convenience, which of an instant might make one a sort of self-defeatist, a runner for the urge of it. But that indeed is the case of priorities in making, and what becomes of the field mouse is more or less the field. Thank you.
Thank you. So glad you could be here with us.
Yeah.
Good job, Bill.
There are some people that are here to support Bill, and that's really wonderful. So great for people to show up for each other. And now, please say hello to Morgan Paige. Thank you, Morgan, for your amazingly great co-hosting, and welcome.
I appreciate that, and I can't wait to get back onto a stage as well, Jim. It's so great to see everybody, and yeah, what a crowd tonight! How exciting! The sun's shining, and we're all here together. Yeah, I'd love to introduce Bruce Hall, our good friend Bruce Hall, up to the mic.
All right, thank you. This is one I wrote at one of Christopher's workshops. Next one's Saturday, I believe, at 11:30. Come and join. There's great poetry juices always flowing at those, and you get some good stuff. This is a kind of found poem. I wrote you a poem of epic love, a ballad of the sun, the moon, the stars, and comets. But the asteroids were broken up about being left out. They showered the river with fragments, white hot pebbles, bringing oohs and ahs from those on the hill above the river, out of the boiling vapor blast. The wind cleared the air and the people rushed down, feasting on poached carp and bass, until one, just one child cut their foot on a broken bottle. My poem, my epic poem, to you still inside the shards. The crowd rushed forward, phones held high, yelling, filming, screaming, posting. I could find no peace. I finally got a break. The poem, that epic poem of my love to you, had disappeared. The Liggles had no way to tie me to the shattered bottle or the asteroids. I was set free only to be hounded by the self-righteous, pursued like a fox, baying at my window, night and day and night, through multiple security camera battery charging cycles. Only when I moved to Poughkeepsie, where the electromagnetic frequencies are weak, could I escape. I tried and tried to recreate the poem. All seemed lost but to try. On the morning after the night, my muse gave me back my poem, news of the Nobel Prize, to a previously unknown poet. He claimed the prize, calling his work a kind of found poem. The Nobel Committee doesn't know, but the asteroids do. They rain down on me every chance they get.
Wonderful.
All right.
Wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
Great work,
Good.
Bruce, and thanks for the shout out for the workshop. And it's so true that there's so much beautiful poetic juices flowing in that workshop. Absolutely love that. Next, we're going to hear from Gay Garland Reed. Welcome to the Ghost Town Zoom edition open mic.
Thank you very much, Morgan. I'm especially happy to be here tonight because of Eileen's special poetry reading, but I also have one that I'd like to read to you. It's called Harvesting Tomatoes and Cavorting with a Goddess. There is an astringent, slightly spicy tang in the air. Breathe in that unmistakable tomato scent. On a scorching summer's day, there's nothing like it. Cherokee purple, true black brandywine, green zebra, Japanese black trifle, Brad's cosmic grape, Bulgarian pink grown from heirloom seeds gathered and passed along by organic farmers, grandmothers, veteran seed savers. We touch the thick, leather-like reptilian leaves. The scent of tomato foliage lingers on our fingers. These tangled bushes, their multiple arms akimbo like a Hindu goddess. Bhuvaneshwari, mother of all worlds, beckoning from another realm. We are lured into their hidden spaces in search of bounty. In an hour, we haul a galactic pile of saffron, crimson, green stripe, maroon, and purple fruit into the kitchen where empty jars wait patiently for us to do our work. Someday, when we are deep into winter, after days of dreary, sunless skies, we'll open a jar of those tomatoes and be transported back into the arms of Bhuvaneshwari, smell her scent on our fingertips, feel the warmth of the sun on our backs.
Nice.
All right.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Very, very beautiful stuff, Gay. Thank you so much for being here and sharing the beauty. So I am going to read a poem now that I wrote a couple days ago. It's just a stream of consciousness piece. It's called April Fool's Poem. I must have written it on the 1st or the 2nd. It's for my friend Nate. 9 copper hearts and a fresh start. Natural flower shoots from the trine of the trillium, from the chime of the equilibrium, of the cranial crest, a perennial blessing, the terrestrial task, a proverbial grazing. Fingers line faces, fools ferment folly, locked eyes now fully follow through for mystery, for some madness, for some history, for some sadness, for some generosity. Fingertips trace maps on palms, felt hymns, gentle hums of vibrating bowls on back, on belly, on heart, under blanket fort in the middle of living room floor. Can you feel it? There's more. Just beyond the mind, the muse marks this time, and nothing matters now but truth. An inner soothing and honest loving, fresh brews and lentil stew cooking. No words for this kind of doting, but poetry. And as the great pendulum swings, we sing freedom songs from liberated tongues, darling tunes from sunflower stalk flute, and you, and you, and you, and me, and me, and me. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Another poet who's been a part of this community from the beginning, and also one of the first poets I met in Vancouver, is our featured reader this evening, Eileen Davis Elliott. I'm going to read you a little bit about Eileen before we hear from her. Eileen Davis Elliott is a poet and visual artist from Vancouver, where she retired from her career in mental health. She has just released Pobrecitos, a collaborative work with Eileen and illustrated by Lily Englum Stryker and Ava Town, students from Vancouver School of Arts and Academics. Travelogue poetry, documentation of the world we live in and the people we do not always notice. Pobrecitos, Spanish for the poor ones, is a love story to all we meet on our path. This is Eileen's 3rd book, available through Amazon, Book Baby Store, and her website, eileendaviselliott.com. Earlier books include Prodigal Cowgirl and Miles of Pies, part family narrative and part history of a way of Midwestern life. Eileen, I just want to say that I'm very happy that things worked out so that we could have you here as our special guest for National Poetry Month. I think the book is beautiful. I hope you sell a ton of copies of it, and everyone is in for a treat right now. My friend, Eileen Davis Elliott. Have fun.
Thank you so very much. I hope everyone can hear me. I loved writing this book. It took a really long time, and there are a number of people who helped me along the way in this audience today. We workshopped the poem in various retreats that I went on with friends at the beach. I have had family members suffer through multiple revisions with me, and we ended up with this book. And we have in our midst the artist for the cover. We have here Haley McCann, and Haley was 2 years younger when this was on. So if you go and look at Cheryl's screen, you will see Haley as well. So thank you, Haley, so very much for being here tonight. She was the one who was stuck in the blizzard the last time when we did the main reading 2 months ago. The book is a collection of poems about travels that I've gone to over the last 20 years. These are when people just struck me in my tracks, humans there that I could not ignore for one reason or another. And I'm going to take you through a number of different spots. Christopher, will we be able to do a screen sharing at this point to look at some of the illustrations?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, we will. Would you like me to put up the first one that you have?
Yes, please.
Number 1?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
It's on its way.
Thank you. This poem is called Lament of the Aboriginal Mothers. And I come from the Midwest. My family's from the Midwest. We've all often heard about the Native American or the American Indian or whatever term you want to use for it. And this is about the tragedies of boarding schools. And when children were taken and basically required to go to boarding schools and drop all of their vestiges of who they are. This is written from the mother's point of view. You steal away our lullabies, strip our vines of blossoms not yet setting fruit. Our arms are yearning for our children. Now gone to far off places, the villages are long rows of iron bedsteads, no kinsmen, nothing left of tribe. The sparks of ancients' knowledge quickly doused. Where are the plains songs, the chants to tasseling corn, the thanks to deer for sacrifice, the shrill wails inviting us to dream time? What is a God to do? There's not enough goodness to dispel all dark. There's not enough. I'm sorry, I made an error here. Young Crow warriors crammed side by side next to the Hidatsis, enemies since their time crept over the mountains. How can they sleep where they might breathe the same unintermittent air? The stench of our adversaries chokes back our appetites. Our food is meager, its unfamiliar texture, smooth, no substance, like the mother-chewed venison for babies still too young to bite with teeth. The wooden hallways yield no accent, no scent for tracking. Their haircut is short, ragged, shameful, with shameful outcome. They hear nothing, they learn nothing here that's of use. And we all guard different sections of the sky. Give me a second, folks. I'm going to grab a couple of other things so that I can have better vision. Those of you who know me know that I'm constantly shifting around trying to get the perfect light and the perfect glasses. The next poem I'm going to read came as a result of stepping outside of a luxury, pretty much a luxury hotel in Mexico City and running across a lady selling chiclets to support herself and her child. This is number 2, Christopher.
Okay.
And it's called Chiclets in the Zona Rosa. Just past the sweep of liveried doormen with gold braid and massive caps that rival old world despots, there are whistles, gestures, commands of instant taxis. They guard me from the city's real face. They stave off the unwashed, the ordinary, the unseemly adverts for 5-star hotels. I wandered free one night when it took a stroll past martini bars, waiting limos. A block or more, I was seeking new places. Found an alleyway, dark with cast shadow, entrance bright with skirts spread on the stones, a display case for packets of chiclets, spread like petals with the price of 2 pesos. She called out a sweet bird-like message, offering dulces, sweets, to all who passed by. A few pesos dug out from pockets, bought some gum from her little street store. Then movement began beneath ruffles. The flow of the skirts changed its course. The chiclets disturbed, disarranged. A bare baby foot thrust its toes out and then retreated back into the warm. A nursery here in the alley, while Mama sold gum for a dime. No license for business, and survival was the plan of the day. Thank you. The next one is number 3, is Meals on Wheels. I volunteered for Meals on Wheels for a while, and it's been one of my favorite charities for quite a while. You don't have to go very far to find exotic and interesting characters of this world. This is going to be number 3 for us. Yeah, thank you, Christopher. We're getting pretty good at this, I think. Keep practicing this putting up the slides here. This is called Meals on Wheels is Food for the Soul. At 10:30, she stares out the windows. A vapor of loneliness congeals. It occludes the view of the parking lot, the trash imprisoned by last year's weeds. 10:35, she straightens the pillow on the lumpy divan, aligns the coffee table one more time, 12 inches, no more, no less from the couch's edge. 10:40, she cranks up the heat, shudders as the fan exhales warmth, stretches her fingers, warming wrist. 10:45, crunching tires activate her alert system. A car door slams, energy of a firm tread and sure steps precede the hearty knocking. 10:48, doors swing wide and life pours in, pushes away the cold air, chases out futility, brings in mashed potatoes. Number 4. Number 4, I spent a winter in Mexico, and one of the aspects of the neighborhood was watching the lady with the shrimp tanks come through. And I had a chance to ask her what that was about. And she told me she was, well, you'll hear in the poem what this is about. Now, so this is our slide 4. Thank you. There she is with her pickup truck with her tanks in the back. It's called Selling Shrimps and Buying Dresses. She drives by in her pickup. She sings a song of 3-note duration. Mariscos, mariscos. She parks on the corner of rich men's streets, where the maids come daily, sometimes with their sisters to help at parties. The women hurry with their huge plastic pans, the same ones they use to fetch masa. Her net scoops out the shrimp. They swim in the tank on her pickup while she sings the Marisco song, talks with friends that she knows from the country. Her brother went north for the harvests, so she saves for his daughter's quinceañera dress, sparkling and beautiful. The dress of a princess, bought with shrimp money on the rich man's street. The last one, it's not my own personal experience, but it burned in me as I was listening to some news when they were talking about the ethnic cleansing in what used to be Yugoslavia. So it's an older poem, but this is number 5, Christopher. And this is called Fleeing Toward Another War. You can see, there she is. She's off on her way. 5 minutes, the Syrian boy says, pokes at my breast, wheels a firebrand gun barrel, a thread of cold, dead steel against warm flesh. 5 minutes, leave or die. I looked around the room. My husband dead, my grown sons have fled. My lifetime in 5 minutes, what do I take? the precious vial of sand from sacred Mecca, the grandfather's testament to his Hajj, his sacred obligation, my son's letters, my wedding ring. A minute already gone. Water, a loaf of bread, spare socks and shoes. How can I do this? A lifetime in a bundle is now my only choice. Another precious minute ticks. Paper, yes, proof that I exist, that I am real. I wrap my life in plastic. Yet another minute gone. Precious grandma cannot be left. I load her in the wheelbarrow. I hear crackling flames and terror all around. I push the barrel and pray that we may live. So those are 5 examples. Thank you. Thank you for that part. Those are 5 examples from the new poem. There's about 25, I think, or 30 in that particular portion. They're all illustrated. I hope you are as charmed as I am by the illustrations. And yes, Tracy is holding up a copy of it. And I mean, I'm just so thrilled with how much everybody has worked so hard on this particular book. So I hope everybody will at least consider buying a copy and also writing, if you tell other people if you like it or don't like it, because that's actually how people get to know about the book, if there's reviews and if there's some word of mouth around it. The writing a book is the simple part. The publishing it, the getting the word out, that's the really complicated part. Okay, now I would like to, I'm going to read a couple of poems, family type poems, Christopher, and after I read these short poems, maybe we can get a chance to listen to another of my Pobrecitos poems, which has been kindly recorded by my good friend Gary Anderson, who I've gone to a couple of writers' camps with, and he's just superb. And he was so kind as to record this excerpt of a poem that I wrote about why poor people smell bad. And we'll listen to that after I get a couple of family poems going here. This is about my Grandpa Bill. And this is an older poem, and it's from my first book called, my second book called Miles of Pies. There it is. And it is all about, it's basically kind of a family journal, but it's not all true. Okay. This is called Joyride. And I know you've all ridden in a pickup somewhere in your life and just had a heck of a good time doing it. And that's what this is about. Joyride. Do it again, Grandpa, do it again. We bounced along gravel roads, no seatbelts, airborne between bumps, unfettered, scaring pheasants, ground squirrels, Grandma's chickens, laughing our guts out. I watched from this far off place of recollected childhood, from the honest commonality of the approaching grave, where you wait before me. You and I played without pretense or routine. Our rules were left back home on the porch with the work gloves and the chore bucket. His grief forged steely spine relaxes now and curves into me as I sit beside him on the front seat of the pickup, and we roar past tractors. We take on bumps. We fly over the earth just for a little while, both whole, both complete with joy. Do it again, Grandpa. Do it again. Here's another one about pickups. And there's a couple people in my family that are going to be doing driver's training this summer for this. So this one is for them. Pickups. 4 on the floor, pop the engine, rusty fenders, smell of the barn. Last spring seed corn bags. There's a mason jar of field water that tastes of iron from the well. A rag to clean the windshield. Midsummer. I am 12. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Nothing will ever be the same. Today, I learn how to drive. Okay, so let's look at the last poem that we have. from the Pobrecitos that the YouTube video that Christopher's going to queue up for us. We don't know how this is going to turn out, but we just love so much the fact that Gary was so sweet to make it. We're going to just have a great time with it.
Yeah, we're going to give it a go. See how it is volume wise. I don't know. Hello, Eileen. This is a reading from your book, Pobrecitos, Eileen Davis Elliott. We don't recognize this place, but it's a place where poor people sleep and live. I recognize the sin, the odor of this place.
You know, because we can't hear this,
Oh, there's.
I'm going to go ahead and read it. You can see how beautiful the setting was, and he was just, I wanted, so let me just go ahead and read this. Oh, I lost the place. Why poor people smell bad. When the people with cash cards wearing coats that are not so shiny give you plenty of room at the 7-Eleven, you might stink too much for them to stand close. They don't know what that smell is, but they know it when it hits them. Sure as you know, Starbucks cinnamon latte or on their breath before they move back. It's probably a little bit of pee, maybe not even yours, but you wear it nonetheless. Mattress or couch cushions, soak it up. Laundromats that cost $2 per load ain't the first thing we pull cash out for. We stink with the smell of grease. We watch close over fried bread and Spam and onions. Onions help most everything on the stove. Rice-A-Roni feeds 2 more people with a nice onion. We stink of tired. Not right away, but it's there by 3rd grade. Recess ladies don't come up when we get beat up or when we beat up somebody else. They say to use our words, and when we use our words to fight, we go to the principal, who might give us clean clothes that don't stink and a nap in the health room so we don't smell so tired. It's nice in there. No one else to share with. And the blanket feels so soft. So let's get a great applause for Gary providing that amazingly beautiful setting for us and another way of thinking about how life can be. Okay.
All right.
I think, you know what, I've lost track of time. I want to get into discussing, have I had close to my 15 minutes of fame, Christopher? I think I have, haven't I?
You are close, but you're okay, Eileen. Let's hear whatever it is that you'd like to share with us.
So what we're going to do is now we're going to talk about this project that I have in mind. And this is talked about, Tracy and I have been talking about the notion of making people know totally and fully that they are writers. Well, what's one of the ways we do that? We get published. So we're going to be doing some publishing of several pieces, and we have talked about in the last few months, what is for all of us our unfinished business? What are the things about our lives that we wish we had known more about or appreciated more, or that we consider doing again or differently? So we're asking people to submit to an anthology. Just send us what you got, 500-600 words, couple of pages. It's all talked about on the website, eileendaviselliott.com, in the projects section. This is our project of called it's called Unfinished Business, and our project that we're doing this under is Under the Bridge of, we call it the Mabel Margie Project, and that's for the name of our grandmas and our great grandmas, who were women who did not have a voice, and we want to be able to make sure other people have a voice. And Tracy, I'm going to ask you to add a word or two in just a second, so get ready, okay? So, what we have is, we think, an opportunity for people to write their hearts out, write briefly, write from your very soul. You can be anonymous. You can put your name on it. And we will just put them all in. We'll have a book, and we'll be published authors. Maybe the only time, maybe one of 100 million times that you've already been published. We hope you'll join us in this project. We're very, very excited about it. Tracy, anything else you want to say about it, my dear?
I was trying to look up quick when we were requesting for the entries to be sent in.
We'll have a submission period from April, about next week, middle of next week, through about 6 weeks or so. We're going to be the end of June. We'll be starting to pull this all together, and we will maybe put it in an ebook. We'll maybe put it in a paperback book. We're not sure. That's our unfinished business. That's the part of us that's unfinished, and we're hoping that people will really want to do this, and that as you think about it, you think, oh yeah, there was that time that I wish I had, or I wonder what's happened, or, if I only had stayed with this or that task for 6 more weeks, I could have been a star, one of those kinds of things. So that's what we want. That's what we'd like to do. So we really hope that you will take a look at EileenDavisElliott.com, send us some questions, send us a couple of pages, and we'll see what we can make out of this. I think it could be a lot of fun, and I think there could be a whole lot of published authors, and then one more dream taken care of, so you can move on to something else. Okay?
Awesome. Good job tonight, Aunt Eileen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We're all going to be winners with this one, I think. I'm going to finish with one tiny poem, and this is from a series of poems that I have written that have to do when I'm outside, usually in my backyard or over at the coast, and I'm just enraptured by the environment. And this is going to be my finish up poem. And thank you very much for tolerating my struggling at the beginning, trying to so I could get done. I have an eye thing that I'm never sure when it's going to be there and when it's going to be a problem. So that's why I can be all ready to go, and then boom, I have to make an adjustment. So thanks for tolerating my mid-course correction. Here's what it's called: Tapestry. Fine needles of rain fall sleekly, letting nothing slow the descent, except for the small maple leaf that will not yield to pressure, regardless of velocity or height of the droplet, as it transforms from surrounding mists by banding together with other micro droplets and seeking escape to the earth. Thank you very much for this wonderful attention. I hope you might want to get the book and enjoy the book, and I'm delighted to talk with any of you at any time. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful stuff, Eileen. Congratulations on your newest book, Pobrecitos. It's absolutely beautiful. Highly recommend going to EileenElliottDavis.com. And I think we put a link up, and we'll probably copy that a couple more times. Excuse me, Eileen Davis Elliott, excuse me. Yes, thank you so much. And we're going to move on, and we'd love to hear from Brian Franco if he's in the audience. Brian, are you with us? Doesn't look like Brian Franco is here. So if he joins us, we may decide to call on him a little later. So next, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Matt Eifert Schroeder. Always so happy to see you, Matt. Welcome to the Ghost Town stage.
Thank you. Always good to see you guys. So I think my rage is keeping me from getting to the humanity of this, and I'm hoping reading it to all of you helps me get past that, and I can find the point where I need to do it. This is called Levi is Dead, a requiem for rural America. A right turn off the pavement into my best friend's home would put the dust of boyhood in our noses. In the summer, all the gods would try to fit into the color green, lush and bursting like our play and dreams. Wrench turn after wrench turn after wrench turn put strengths into the hands before pneumatic tools that would put calluses on an armchair with a coffee cup. They came in a wooden wagon and don't throw things out. Real butter is what makes a fried egg sandwich tasty. Cut a century in half together and call it true love. They would build a home that would be rotten in 3 generations. After stories of screeching tires and love on river roads of his youth, gardens and purpose with room to grow, friends and fistfights, back when there were still butterflies in the bars and life was enough to live it. In enough whiskey, he would tell you how big the people his gray eyes devoured at 500 meters were. I never should have let him know I can shoot. Vietnam seeped into the vinyl floor as he chain smoked deindustrialization. Got a half pension when Georgia Pacific found a cheaper place to put his paper machine. Wouldn't jump through hoops to get his license back. His brother gave him rides into town for cigarettes. In a truck that didn't have any computers because they know how to take care of it. Unknown and under our noses the whole time, one of us was fed to a wolf we knew. Had it threatened the neighbor's cow, he would have put it down. He would kill overseas, but not for his daughter. Taught us muzzle control, because once the pin hits the primer, you can't get the bullet back. Little girls have never been as sacred as bullets in houses like these that sure as shit don't need the government poking around in our business. Hate wrote in on AM radio at first. There was always a well-kept stable. There has always been plenty of hay for this circle the wagons, white hat, armchair, whiskey soap, John Wayne victim narrative about getting kicked off the land we killed for. I need to finish this up now. I'm doing childcare now. He started shooting himself in the foot just in case a black woman wanted his shoes. Like Fox News and the NRA wasn't headquartered in New York, right next to the brothers mega rich who took his salary and turned it into punch down talking points, because none of his heroes would ever eat at the Mill Tavern he's stuck at unless they were on business to close down the factory. And his son, like his son didn't love him right here, right now, through the cigarette smoke seeping into the wood paneling. And it was still Godburst green outside in the summertime if he could just blow up his TV and move back to the country. His world started to get as carcinogen small as the people he used to kill from a distance. And if it wasn't for those pinkos and women, he could live wild and free. The reason I taught you to shoot is everyone thinks the Cold War is over, but they put so many commies in the school system, once it's gone, you have to kill for your freedom. Like he left the house in this month. We left looking for roads back and bars he sung into our dreams. The back roads and bars he sung into our dreams, back when he still dreamt. Putting rounds in the old refrigerators and cars in front of clay, then across the country, came back less and less. Rage stacked trash wall to wall until one day there wasn't room for anyone else to sleep. Left the slanted house to the rats till his brother fell. He knew the same chemicals were coming for him. The one relative left who could check in on him once a week found him dead in the gravel way. He and we quit using. Before he left, he sealed a lie into his will. He made sure the guns wouldn't go to the son who tried to love him, erased the last joyful memory he deserved, and there was no one else to get any of his nothing else. In the end, there was a beginning. Those tiny rocks once held a boy kicking up dust to see something new. He traded the yellow and black wings of here and now for a radio wave, who could have chased a butterfly to something different, but didn't. Thanks.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, well done. Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, that was some good shit, Matt. Thank you so much. Wow, I'd love to read that again. Is that going to be in an upcoming in your upcoming book that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm working on a book about my brain injury and struggling with masculinity and how it's not really helping me that much. So Aoife says that was a little weird though, so she's not impressed yet. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Matt. Always a pleasure. Next, we're going to hear from Eric Arthur. Eric, welcome to the Ghost Town stage, Zoom edition, excuse me.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here for the first time.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for the first time. Let's give him a round here, everybody. Absolutely. Not to put you on the spot, but we love making our first timers feel welcome. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's like I haven't really shared much poetry in town, so this is kind of very exciting for me, as I now have an outlet for all this poetry. So the piece that I have today is a creative thing that I did, where it's like it's a very short poem. It has two different titles, so the poem itself stays the same, but with each different title, it takes on it has a different picture that it paints. So I'm going to read it twice with its different titles. So the first title is called "The Bloody White Forest." The tall white trees sway in the breeze, without branches, limbs, leaves. A moment's assault, the smell of salt. Its strong punch makes me halt. The sound of birds, their aggressive words, and hunting voices are heard. An ominous sign, diving in to dine, they're screaming, mine, mine, mine. That's the Bloody White Forest. The second title is called The Yacht Harbor. Okay, the Yacht Harbor. So here we go. The tall white trees sway in the breeze, without branches, limbs, leaves. A moment's assault, the smell of salt. Its strong punch makes me halt. The sound of birds, their aggressive words and hunting voices are heard. An ominous sign, diving in to dine, they're screaming, mine, mine, mine.
Wow.
Wonderful.
That's amazing.
Whoa.
Really
Good
cool.
rhyme too.
Really
Thank
cool.
you. Yeah. Really nice.
Good job.
Adventure.
That was a really, really powerful, Eric. Thank you so much for being here. We hope that you will join us again every second Thursday of the month. And yeah, that one's going to stick with me for a while. So thank you so much. I love that concept too. Same poem, two different titles. Like, whoa, that kind of just blew my mind. So yes, next I am delighted to introduce Susan Rankin. Susan, welcome to Ghost Town. If you're still with us, is Susan out there?
Oh. No?
She's here. Yeah, we can hear you, Susan.
I'm having a little trouble hearing, but maybe that's just me.
I don't hear either.
No. I don't know what to do.
She's very faint.
It seems like maybe if you got closer to your microphone a little bit, maybe you're just a little too far out of range for your microphone on your computer.
Or if you could turn your computer volume up, maybe.
The volume is all the way up.
Okay.
That's
better. That's
Is that
better.
better?
Much
Is that
better.
Okay. So this is a surfing poem. It's called 60-Footer. The 60-footers blow out the bay. The jet skis hightail it for shore. The crowd roars. The surfers sitting on the ledge grab the top of the rail, kick out of the shoulder and knife it down the curve of the bowl. Air dropping heart of gods. Gladiators in the middle. It's up to the ocean now, fitting the curve into the barrel.
a long, smooth run until buried, broiled, throttled, vaporized. Full penetration comes out from the front, whiz, gliding ahead on the upside of the trough. Full speed, home free. The complete ride, John Florence muscles through the lesser wash, all the way in, takes a bow in the last curl. Reappears gliding up beach, board in hand, crowd roars.
Beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
All right.
thank you, Susan. Really great. And what we do, as Morgan indicated earlier, is we roll with the technological waves as they happen. We just hang in there and do our best. Thank you, Susan, for for doing what you could to be heard, and we heard you well once we got going there. So I thought it was a great poem. I think our next reader is someone else who will be reading for us for the first time. If I'm wrong, you can please correct me. Sarah Goetsch, is that the right way to pronounce?
Thanks, Christopher.
What's that name? I hope so. And if not, please correct me on that.
Yeah, it's Getch. Like
Getch?
catch.
I apologize.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It actually works really well because it leads into baseball, which is what my poem is kind of about. So I appreciate that. Was beautifully done. Thank you.
That's what I was trying to do.
Brilliant. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I know Eileen from a workshop that we did together, and whose teacher actually said that publishing is just a fancy word for sharing, which I always just really appreciate to come back to, of like, okay. So I read a poem about baseball and my family's history of playing ball. So I'll share that with you. It's called Making It in the Bigs. Making It in the Bigs. My dark-haired mama was first born in the fall of 1950, baseball season. Her pa in patched trousers, boots tall, at the trailer's edge steps, flicks out his last cigarette before becoming a parent. The father's brother, George, taught her to throw before he flew to Korea and neglected to send back his body. The next born baby would bear his name, but she'd inherit his arm, right shoulder, center field strong. She'd choose family over going pro. No acclaim set next to Uncle's Purple Heart. Quiet choices change a life. I am firstborn towhead in the summer of 1980, coaching season. Dad in the dugout, nursing my lips with a bottle. Mom hitting fungo at the fielders. A batter steps into the white chalked box, helmet secure, fingers flexed, ready. In this game, they take BP. She's 70 when several players unlace their cleats and say, I refuse to play America's pastime while there's a war on. The ask of bodies in motion is constant. Throw harder, hit farther, fill in the gaps for the many before you who couldn't step into the box. We're taught to play a certain way, the rules so rigid, we break. Thanks, y'all.
Damn.
Thank you so much. Great poem.
Great poem.
And we have next someone else I'm fairly certain is here reading with us for the first time. Cindy Chatham. Welcome, Cindy. Unmute yourself and speak to the Ghost Town peoples.
Okay, thank you. Let me get up here.
I'm glad that you were relaxing and enjoying the proceedings. That's awesome.
I had no choice. I'm very tired. Okay, let's see. My poem is called Where Are You Now? Without warning, he'd fly back into my life like a fast wind from Vegas, out just as quick and across another highway on a worn out amphetamine circuit. You'd never known he had flown until a note was discovered, or the phone call didn't materialize, or he never came back with the cigarettes. Right now, I want to go on that wild first spring breeze convertible ride to carry us away on some highway, south or east. Who cares where? Just go. Just keep driving. Him hunting drugs and snakes as we go, his cowboy boot down hard on the pedal, with Lee, Clayton, or Neil Young on the tape. We might talk about sex we never had, or doing drugs or mushroom visions like the elf on the rock at Lake Berryessa, or his son Jesse, or my son Keith, or just how crazy he is, or my latest boyfriends, or his latest reptiles, or how the desert looks at 5 a.m. Where are you now? Your silence is suspicious. No cards have arrived with psychedelic horses and speed brain drawings colored in on the envelope, a circling bright vortex of words and pictures, and somewhere in the epicenter, love Herb.
Thank you.
Nice.
Cindy, did you say you were zooming in from California? Is that correct?
Yeah, from Lake County, Northern California, where all the fires happen.
There are the fires.
Get me out of here, please.
Thank you so much for being with us. You know, we all, wish that things have been very different over the past year, but one wonderful thing to come out of these strange circumstances is the way that we can expand our poetry community and hear from people from all over. So I'm really happy that you decided to do this with us. I appreciate it. And yeah, be safe out there, okay?
I'm trying. Thanks a lot. I'll be back.
Thank you. Next, thanks, Cindy. I hope so. We'd love to have you back. Our next reader is going to be someone who's become a regular here, and I always love to hear her stuff. Bethany Lee. Welcome, Bethany. Glad you're back to read some more for us.
Oh, it's so good to be with you. And if tonight isn't enough poetry for everyone, tomorrow evening at 7, Kim Stafford and I are doing a poetry and harp evening. So I'll put the link to register for that in the chat in case you're interested in coming. And this piece is from yesterday, from a write from yesterday. It's called Gift Shop Paper Dolls. The cutting out was the best part. Snipping precisely around the lace scallops at the bottom, clipping swiftly across the straight-edged tabs. No, the best part was imagining, anticipating, standing in the gift shop on vacation, weighing the choices, Civil War petticoats, a Victorian polonaise, nothing to do with the natural wonders outside, but easier to hold. They pointed the boys to the kits where you could make your own explosions. I stood by the rack where they kept exactitude, volumes promising stillness. No matter what figures I chose, they never played my games willingly. They flung the frills from their thin shoulders and went out in their underwear, all their attachments misbehaving. Every time I thought, this time will be different, and it never was. I don't remember the last time I decided, slid my bills across the counter, pocketed the change. I don't think I ever even freed her from the page, my first broken promise, left flat and naked in the dark. But I remember the day I tightened the straps of the pack across my chest, stepped over the brink, and walked down the canyon wall.
Woo. Wow.
Really great.
Thank you so much, Bethany. Next, we're going to hear from our friend Joanne Boswell. Glad you could be with us, Joanne.
Thank you. Yeah, if any of you have seen me yawning, it's not you. I just got my second dose of the vaccine this afternoon. Thank you, science, and nurses and doctors everywhere. So I'm a little tired, and I told Christopher to put me on the list, but that I might not make it. So I'm glad to be here, and delighted to follow up my friend Bethany. Loved that poem. I'm going to read a poem that has a little, epigraph, not epitaph. That's the other thing, epigraph. It's called Caretaker. And the epigraph says, if I'm shining, everybody gonna shine. Lizzo. Caretaker. She left this for me where I couldn't miss it. City of medication bottles, rising whitewashed towers, edge of the counter. They form a remarkable grid. I make each capsule a car before the inevitable airplane landing. Note my cup is full, always full. She never misses anything. Lunch plated, laundry sorted, books stacked at the right angle, in the right order, on the sunny corner of my desk. I find a want and turn, seeing it's been met already. While digging for impossible to find snack bowls, violent popping pulls my gaze to stovetop, where it's all arranged. Napkin, chocolate, elusive bowl, condensating iced coffee. Such intimacy, this intention. I'm floored when microwave beeps, another reminder that she cares enough to know my desires, and runs before me, a time sprite, fluffing pillows, spreading blankets, forever a step ahead, preparing my comfort for after I have ferried all of the things for our children. I'm high on gratitude, tears forming, finally sit to bask in this perfect care and thank myself for not forgetting me.
Yes, very good.
Absolutely love that, Joanne. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're with us, and I hope you get a good night's rest tonight. Yes, and stay grateful, because that feeds us. You know what I mean? High on gratitude. I love that. Yeah, some phenomenal stuff tonight. Wow, everybody's just bringing it, and I'm just kind of like enamored with every single person that's reading. And it must be spring, poetry in spring. There's something else, it was a beautiful day. Next, I'm so excited to welcome to the Ghost Town stage, Denise Campbell. Welcome, Denise. So happy to see you here.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Perfectly. Yep. Loud and clear.
This one is called What If the Page Slumbers? What if, until the page is turned, the words are dreaming? In a sea of closed, flat, fellow scribblings, half conscious of each other and themselves, the words awaken as they are read, realized, devoured, illuminated with daylight, lamplight, understanding, and longing. Thank you.
All right.
Woo! Thank you so much, Denise. So happy that you're here with us again. You know, it's just like such an amazing turnout tonight, and it takes every single one of us to make this what it is. So, you know, it's always a joy. It's always a joy. Next, we're going to hear from Ann Spires. Ann, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I'm going to read from, I wrote a series of monologues between a husband and wife immediately post World War II on the Washington coast. They are commercial clam diggers and fern cutters and all the rest of that. And he's a vet. And so this is the wife speaking. 1, old man Sampson straightens his flannel shirt, faded to gray, cigarette unlit in his lips, face stubble long as it will get. He stands in the bright color of cedar shakes, freshly split, day in and day out. He waves his arm, a generous invite to go at it ourselves, split our own shakes, or leave some coins, a dime per piece, honor system. I run a U-shake, he jokes. The old coot shows off, his mallet taps the fro, iron splitting shakes from the bolt's fresh edge. 2. My husband picks up the tools, tries a hit and another. The split just doesn't happen. Not clean, not jagged either. Samson says, it's the drinking, you gotta give it up. My love answers, not on your life. Stuffs a few dollars into the coffee can atop a stump. He shoulders a bale of shakes, plenty to the side, half a wall. No one does as much weight out here, lift and set down, moving cedar dugouts up beach, pry and push, his long-handled come along, inching logs into place, my love. St. Christopher himself carrying over streams fast and frothy, heavy white ladies with larded pies, and Indian women plump with fry bread, dipped in seal oil, everybody laughing. My drunken man flexing, noise, show off. 3. We buck down the road. I say, old man Sampson knows what he is about. I hang my arm out the window, my fingers combing the dismal light. We roll through woods hung with Methuselah's beard. A lichen so proficient, it eats the air. I say, I don't mind being here, the smell of cedar holding me. My love downshifts the high pitch of metal on metal, breaks smoking, indecent thoughts rise in me. About old man Sampson undressed, he all white under his stiff clothes, except for his face and hands, sun-leathered and work-cut, rough as a scabby apple. I pull my hand in from the rushing air. It finds its mate as I slide them between my legs, my desire taking me somewhere else. Thank you.
Really?
All right.
Fine.
Thank you.
And that poem just took us somewhere else. So like, I want to continue wherever that was going. I would love to read more. Thank you so much.
Good. It'll be a book this fall from Black Heron Press in Anacortes. So I hope you enjoyed the woman's side. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for keep us updated on that. We'd love to hear more and read more. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'd love to introduce my friend and poet here, Igor Brezhnev. He's coming to us live from the Poetry Closet, I believe, in Portland, Oregon. Welcome, Igor.
Igor!
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Eileen, for a beautiful feature, and all of you for sharing the poetry tonight. It's yet another monthly gulp to enjoy here in the Poetry Closet. And I am in the closet. This is a small space filled with poetry. So I'll read tonight a poem from the 3rd volume of Night Since Poetry Project. Just a little about it. It's the project started January 17th of 2019, and ended on January 14th of 2020. During this time, I wrote a poem every night with the intent to document the emotional landscape of being without a home. The poems are presented unedited as they were written on those nights, kept intact and raw to emphasize the urgency of writing without the luxury of hindsight available to the settled. There are 11 volumes in total, each containing 33 poems, and this third volume is now available for pre-order. I just need 20 more copies to get pre-ordered to start production. And this is night 91. Street lights, indifferent to blood. Porch lamps say you don't live here. Tender attics glow someone's comfort. Neon of closed stores, empty promise. Wherever we go, there is a light, just not for us, just what we bring in our eyes. See, I'm lucky. I'm going somewhere, if not home, but close enough for the being of time. Close enough. This fellow sprawled by a tea shop, cocooned in a sleeping bag, has less luck than I do, and I wonder when my luck will run out, and I wonder of the empty platitudes about how heart is where you live. But does your heart have a shower? Does it come with an outhouse? Can you piss in your most tender heart? Can you wash off the neon from your skin, wash your socks, hang them to dry? Can you ask your sleep to come to your bed, lights off, meet dark nights in the fabled heart-carved castle? Can you say, we live here, we live in this rented heart? Does your heart come with a little doorbell? Does your heart have a key? How's the rent? Yeah, so that was written on April 18th of 2019. I'm going to share the link here for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Igor. And Igor has a Patreon. There are a lot of books that are for sale if you go to Igor's sites. And as someone mentioned before the reading began, Igor is also in charge of a series that I think, even if it does not happen again, should be considered legendary at the Rocking Frog Cafe in Portland. Why would I call it legendary? For a couple of reasons. Because it was a lot of fun, and because there were a lot of features as well as open mic slots. And there were donuts made on site. You can't say that about every poetry reading in the world. Anyway, Igor, wherever you might bring poetry and bring poetry events in the future, I will try to support them. And all of you can support your local and not so local poet by buying books and supporting their work. So I hope that people will do that for Igor and for the other people that are here tonight with items for sale. Read each other's stuff and support each other with, in the most direct way you can, you know. Igor, you have any dreams or wishes for, the post-COVID future? You have a reading in mind for our future?
Oh God, well, just people faces in person.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know.
Yeah. I'll meet you on the corner. We'll
we'll just read on corners of streets. We don't need a venue. Yeah. Anyway, those of us who were lucky enough to be a Rocking Frog know why I would make such a big deal out of it. It was really great, and we really appreciate everything that you did for the poetry community, and I'm sure you will continue to do. It's really, that's true service, yeah. It's always fun. I'm trying to still do that. I do a little column in Nailed magazine interviewing poets and sharing their work. So just finding ways that work for the moment, and then we'll see what happens in the year to come.
Yeah, I believe
maybe me and Morgan are going to tour.
That would be great. I believe that Morgan put a link to one of the Nailed articles with Tola Molikov, a real friend of this series. So, yeah, check out the stuff on Nailed, check out the Patreon and everything else. And another old friend of mine and friend of this series is GL Morrison. We're very lucky to have GL with us tonight, powerful performer and poet. Welcome, GL.
Hey. I've been small. I misplaced where the poem was I was going to read. I was like, oh, I've got it up. I'm going to be so fucking professional. Where the hell did it go? Okay, here we go. I definitely wanted to make it small so that I could see you at the same time as I could read to you. a challenge when doing it on the, can you hear me all okay?
Yes.
Yep, okay. So I have taken on, as I was telling Chris earlier, a huge project of joining all the prompt groups possible and making up for the April's poem a day thing that I haven't done for many years, and I'm doing now like 4 or 5 poems a day. So let's hope that what I get out of it is not just quantity. So what I'm sharing with you is from a poetry group prompt. The group is called Dirty 30, and prompt was inspired by Canvas and Mirror by Evie Shockley, and it's called Self-Portrait from Memory. Self-portrait without cats, with purple stacks of unmailed pamphlets, with unopened bills and communist propaganda. With a half-drunk bottle of Dr. Pepper, with uncombed hair, with combed-over regrets, with overcommitted, under-delivered promises, with guilt, with privilege, with oppression, without privacy, with one streak of red paint left over from a pre-pandemic pedicure on one of my Howard Hughes-length toenails, 9 naked, unstreaked. Self-portrait with acne at 9, at 14, at 53, the blemishless 30s. Self-portrait at my first wedding, wan, teenaged, pregnant, reluctant with my stepfather's 30-something cousin. Self-portrait in my first apartment that I never got a key to and could lock but not leave, or leave but not lock. Pregnant, 15, with the floor of the furnitureless room glittering with shards of dishes, bottles, mason jars, glasses I had broken on purpose, with rage, with satisfaction, with confusion, with a knife in my hand when I woke him to say, "You know I could kill you while you sleep," without knowing why, with a knife in my hand when I cut my finger to write my name on the mirror and whisper, "Blood purifies," and wonder where I had heard that, with a knife in my hand when I wrote, "Why not?" on my own arm 20 years later, debating when to kill myself or why not to, with no knife in my hand when I rolled up my sleeve to show my therapist what I had written, and she gently put her hand over the word "not," and we both read "why." At my second wedding at 23 with a woman who liberated and abused me, with the woman who broke me, hurt my child, and felt more like home than anyone anywhere had or ever would. Self-portrait of leaving, always leaving, with running, with hunger, with flip-flops in snow, with bare feet driving, with living with strangers, with friends, with enemies, in a shelter, in the hostel, in a broken house without walls, in a co-op, in a church, in a car, with a Pomeranian, with a cockatoo, with years of pets and allergies, with kittens I kept bringing home and couldn't keep, with 20 bunnies, with sugar gliders, with snakes, with rats, with a turtle in a box while we lived on the run from a lover who wouldn't let me leave and live, with a new name, without my past, without the pain, with never, with always, with all the ghosts, self-portrait of my overcrowded selves. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, such a powerful poem. Wow. That was fantastic.
Whoa.
Really strong.
Where can we find your work, GL?
Okay, so I suck at getting my work out, and I remind myself that getting published is a way of making other people keep your shit and know where your stuff is, right? So I have been putting all of these on my Patreon and trying to remind myself, to get it out there, but I am terrible about writing for an audience, reading it, and then tossing it in a box. So I don't want to be Emily Dickinson. None of us do, let's not be all famous when we're dead. Let's do what we need to do to support each other to get it out there now.
Absolutely. Share it. Share the magic. Share the medicine. Absolutely. It was powerful.
Yeah. Any publishers out there, publish GL so that we have a chance to see your stuff and it's not in a box. I have a book of GLs. Hopefully it's still for sale, and a CD that's really great. So, I think if you search, you may be able to do it. GL is one of the people that was published by Headmistress Press. I imagine they probably have copies of that book available. So Headmistress Press is a great lesbian press here in the Northwest. They also do lesbian poet trading cards, which I think is an awesome idea. So check them out, Headmistress Press. We are next going to hear from a person who helped us all to be heard in our when we were at Angst Gallery, and then he left town, but then we all had to stay home. So anyway, we miss him. We're glad that he's been zooming in to be here with us. Please say hello to Scott Yeager. Nice to see you, Scott.
Hey, Christopher. Thank you. And it's nice to see you all too. Got a poem for you. What's in a VHS collection? The paperboard sleeves, the plastic cartridges, the carefully aligned magnetic particles, the signals, and the noises. A picture we've already seen, or a story new to me. You ask which side goes in first. We rewind all the way to the start. At the end, I'll watch the wiggles. As you sleep already, feel the heaviness of physical media, the weight in waking you again, here in the quiet coastal night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love that.
Now at work, he's known as Ian Caton, but here in Ghost Town, it's Ian motherfucking Caton, everybody. Please say hello to him for him.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Can you hear me okay? I'm gonna change my view from...
Yes.
I can concentrate better on speaker view, but when I want to read, I want to see gallery view. So that's my little trick. If I got you on gallery view while everybody else is reading, I tend to act like a jackass, and so I don't want to do that. So instead I have you on speaker view, and I can be very serious, Ian. So here I am. By the way, GL, that was amazing shit right there. I'm following up on that, and I'm like, whoa. So, all right. So this one's called "I Buy You Fly." Before Mark died, I used to hang out in his room, and we would drink together while my girlfriend was at work. And he would tell me, "I'll buy if you fly," which was interesting because he drove taxi and would fly all night. Hold on. Thanks. Which was interesting because he drove taxi and would fly all night, picking up passengers in downtown San Jose, taking them all over San Carlos to El Camino, Market Street to Monterey Boulevard, Lawrence Expressway, Julian Street becomes McKee Road, going out past White Road to Mount Hamilton. We're going east now into the foothills, Mount Pleasant High School, James Lick and Overfelt, past all the cholos and gangsters with red flannel shirts buttoned up to the neck, a cigarette behind the ear, pressed dickies or baggy shorts with white socks pulled up to the knees. You don't know what he might be packing, sawed-off shotgun or a .22 pistol, or just a switchblade or a baseball bat might do the trick. Anything to crack open your skull. Anything to kneecap a motherfucker who didn't look like he belonged. Someone staring too long, what you looking at, white boy? What you need, you come to the right spot. Get you a teener or an eighth. You need some grass. What you need and how much you got. All that shit was coming down, and Mark would sail in his yellow Crown Vic, going west to east or north to south, all over, man, picking up hookers and junkies or businessmen on trips to the airport, drunks who didn't want to drive home, all over, man. And he'd come back with cash tips that might get a French dip sandwich at the San Jose Inn and Restaurant, right around the corner from where we lived. He'd call it the greasy spoon. You fly and I'll buy, Mark said, handing me a fistful of ones, a five, all wrinkled and greasy. And I'd walk down to the convenience store just past the Heritage Rose Garden, over by Bellarmine High School. I'd see kids walking by, going to school, walking into the store for a lollipop or a muffin, a soda pop. And I'd come out with a soft pack of Camel Shorties and a rack of buds, then walk back to Uncle Al's where we rented bedrooms. He and I now roommates by circumstance, but brothers by the blues. I fly, he by, sharing recordings of old Grateful Dead shows, dubbed right from their soundboard. And we'd sip on my girlfriend's old Kessler blended whiskey, smooth as silk. And it would be just the two of us listening to bootleg cassette tapes of Steel Magnolias at Cal Expo. Mark with his ponytail and tie-dyed t-shirts and belly, old dirty socks with old dirty shorts with bottles of piss stashed around his room. Wouldn't walk inside to use the John. There'd be 3 or 4 Gatorade bottles filled with urine stashed around his room. No dope, no girls, just California sunshine and booze, right by Uncle Al's vegetable garden. And Mark would prick his finger to check his blood, see if he could keep on drinking. Just a couple this morning, he'd tell me, laughing. I don't want my diabetes to get too crazy. And when he'd sober enough to drive again, he'd leave me in his room by myself and his dead tapes. And once I found his pistol, a .45, black metal Smith & Wesson M&P, and I'd go to the garden and point it at Al's tomato plants and squeeze the trigger, the shot ringing out across the neighborhood. They probably heard that at the high school. Red beefsteak tomato explodes on the vine. Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Mr. Keaton. Thank you for being here. Tonight has been special for me for so many reasons. You know, we have Eileen presenting from her beautiful new book, and so many of the people that are here, you know, I'm saying this for the first timers and maybe people that are newer to the series. So many of the people you've heard from tonight have been featured readers in the series, or people that have come for years and years. And, you know, with this kind of a thing, of course, people come and go, and that's natural. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's just so great to see everybody, and to have all these folks that have been a part of the community in one way or another. And one of those people is our next open mic reader. Barbara Lamorticella has been doing a poetry program on KBOO for many years called Talking Earth. And I think that for that alone, she should be praised. She's a wonderful person and poet. She's had the Vancouver poets, the Ghost Town poets on the air more than once over the years, a real supporter of what we're doing here at Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic. And I'm really glad that she decided to Zoom in with us. So welcome, Barbara. We'd love to hear one of your poems if you're ready to read something to us.
Well, Christopher, I am so impressed. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I am so impressed with the readers tonight. It just knocks me out. It's wonderful. I am going to share with everyone a poem that I wrote last week in the wee hours of Tuesday morning. And later on, that late that afternoon, my son-in-law had been worried about his best friend, Dave Busacker, the musician in Satan's Pilgrims, who was also my friend. And he went to the house and he found that Dave he found his body. He had heart trouble and he was found on the floor having had a heart attack. But that, and it happened, they don't know when it happened because it had been about 3 days since he was found. And that, like I said, in the wee hours of the morning, I wrote this poem out of nowhere before Scott went to the house. Corporeal. Now that they are no longer corporeal, the ones we have loved have the ability to be everywhere and nowhere. When my mother died, she returned the green of her eyes to the leaves that they came from, and now shines vigorously from every leaf. Then there are those who prefer to travel when they leave, who float lightly by as they are passing, or perhaps who knock from the leg of a table or thump from inside the wall. That's it.
Thank you, Barbara.
Very cool.
Yeah, it is a little scary. And actually, as I was writing it, there was one of those times when the furniture cracks for no reason. So anyway, yeah, I mean, poetry does definitely connect with other dimensions. Yeah. And GL, I would love to have you on the show. I wrote down the name of your book and the press. So, along with many people here. I mean,
there you
it's
go.
Wonderful. It's been just
Get her on K-Boo.
Yeah, let's support community radio, and let's support poets who invite other poets onto radio shows on the spot. That's a nice thing that can happen in the world.
Well, not only GL, but
thank you so much, Barbara. I know it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to be quiet now.
That's okay. That's okay. We're glad you're here, Barbara. And KBOO is a wonderful station. Talking Earth is a wonderful program, and there are other poetry programs on KBOO as well. So I hope everyone will support that. I'd like to, in the spirit of National Poetry Month, I'd like to read one of my collage poems. Collaboration is something that's been very important to me in my writing life, and collage poem to me is a form of collaboration. Maybe the people that I'm collaborating with don't realize that I'm doing it. Some of them do and some of them don't. But what I want you to know about what I'm about to read to you is that, as you can see here with the title, I guess I'll scroll down so you can see what I'm talking about. I borrow lines from all over the place. They're not all lines of poetry. They're not all even things that were written. Sometimes it's overheard conversation. Some of the people that are here with us tonight are quoted here. Musicians, lines from television programs and movies. And then I arrange them and rearrange them and rearrange them again until they form something that I think can represent my consciousness in some way. So from now until the end of consciousness, we are stuck with the task of defending art. Susan Sontag. That's one of the mysteries of art, that sense of being seen. It's one thing to notice something else. It's another thing to be noticed. I'm interested in that shift of perception and how that happens. I'm aware of the repetitions. The evidence is in. There is an alchemy in the margin. An invisible party hides around human beings. Enormous, visible, or conspicuous, or at any rate, underlying. Got a funny soul, like Charlie Parker. His life was art. Had quite simply forgotten the name of his universe. That shit was so good, it was scary. You risk nothing, you get nothing. The idea isn't to blend. The idea is to be a witness and a party to something that takes your breath away. What if we were all more permeable than we imagined? I might have been in a rocking chair being held by the goddess. I do want to describe it because it's a picture of her vision, a very succinct vision, tracing knowledge. I felt immersed in it, transforming mindsets and ways of thinking, souls unfettered here, unfathomable potentialities. So that's my offering to you for National Poetry Month.
Yeah, love that. Thank
you. I want to say thank you to everyone who read and everyone who listened. Each person who is here with us, it contributes their energy to the proceedings. And a big thank you to my co-host Morgan Paige and also to Eileen Davis Elliott. Let us unmute ourselves and thank Eileen for her beautiful reading this evening. Thank you so much, Eileen.
Thank you. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you to Eileen's nieces and cousins.
Yeah, really special when family shows up. It really means everything. Glad you're here. And we have people who zoomed in to support her from, from other. That's really special and important. I am taking a quick look to see what we have coming up. Let me make sure I got the right thing here. Yes, our next reading will be on May 13th with Micah Fletcher. So we're very excited about that. So I'll have to track Micah down. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but really an important and powerful performer from Portland. And so come back here on the 13th for next month for Micah Fletcher and you, hopefully all of you as well. And thank you to Tony, my wife and previous co-host. Glad that you're here too. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. As I said, within the next week, you're going to get an email with me with all the stuff from the chats in case you missed any of the things you wanted to follow up on. And then not too long from now, the recording of tonight's reading will be on my YouTube channel. So that link will also be in that email. So thank you very much, everybody. It was a wonderful evening of poetry.
I definitely want to give a special shout out to Christopher too for putting those videos up and recording and being so tech savvy actually after all, you know what? And just thank you. Thank you for being the fucking best host, for bringing the energy since the early 2000s, you know, thank you. You're the best. And honestly, I'm just blown away by tonight and thank you. I really needed this, you know? And I think all of us do. So it's a gift. Thank you.
It was a really special night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Christopher, for creating poetry community for the last couple of decades and teaching yourself what you needed to learn in order to make this happen. Thank you so much.
And I want to say that I responded to GL because she sent me a direct message, but many of the readers tonight, you know, I wish that I had 50 poetry readings a month because so many of you I wanted to hear. So I'll get in touch and thanks everyone. It was just a wonderful night. So
yeah.
And thank you to Jim Martin for having volume and sound. It was real nice to hear you sometimes.
Yes, glad
Jim
we could hear you, Jim.
finally got the basics.
Yes, it was frustrating last month not to be able to hear you, Jim, and so it was really great to hear a poem this time. We want everyone to be included who wants to be a part of it, you know.
Right.
This is such a successful party. Nobody wants to go home.
But I gotta go home. So good night and thank you to everyone. Bye-bye.
If you switch over to your grid view now, you can watch the little squares disappear. That can be fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Glad that you were here.
Thank you. I love you all.
Thank you, Morgan.